Hi everyone, I'm Frances and I'm from Newcastle University to talk to you all about geography, what it is, how you can study, how it's assessed, the modules, facilities, and so much more. But first of all, a little bit of information about Newcastle. So Newcastle University is one of the top 150 world universities, and that was done by the World Rankings 2019. So that means you're going to go to a university that's got a really high standard and good reputation. And part of this is down to our TEF Gold. What this is it's basically the equivalent to an Ofsted Outstanding, but for universities. And this is across all of our courses and all of our lectures. So no matter what you study at Newcastle, you're going to be getting that high standard of teaching. And this is shown by the fact that 96% of our students progress into employment or further study within 6 months of graduation. And 86% of these are in graduate level jobs. So they're in jobs you need a degree for, and that's a really high number. And Newcastle are actually really good in terms of graduate prospects and where our graduates go after they've done a university. We are also a member of the Russell Group. What this means is that we are research intensive, and that is because our lecturers are all involved in research projects, and we even hire staff dedicated to these research projects that our students can get involved in as well. And if you want to find out more about this, then you can go look at another presentation which is called How Humanities and Social Sciences Are Changing the World. Newcastle is also 4th in the UK for social life. Now, if anyone knows anything about Newcastle, they know it's a fantastic place to be. As you can probably tell by my accent, I'm not from Newcastle, and I moved here 5 years ago, and I don't want to leave. That's just how fantastic it is. There is so much to do, and one of the great things is Newcastle's quite small but compact, so it's really easy to get everywhere. And as I said, there's so much. No matter what music you're into, there will be a place that caters towards that. There's bowling, mini golf, comedy clubs, axe throwing, theatres, galleries. We're also really close to the coast, so you can go to the beach, and close to the countryside. So it's the best of everything, in my opinion. And the geography course at Newcastle is accredited by the Royal Geographical Society. What this means is when you leave university, you not only leave with a degree from Newcastle, but you also leave with a professional body behind you saying that you're ready to go into the working world in this area. Geography is also in the top 100 in the World University Rankings in the geography category. So what is it? Well, I'm going to show you a quick video which is all about geography at Newcastle. This is a video which shows our geography degree. There are loads of other degrees which I'll talk about later, but hopefully this will just tell you a little bit about what it's like to study before I talk to you in a bit more detail about it.
Newcastle is a fantastic place to be a geography student because aside from the fantastic array of overseas field trip opportunities that we offer, there is so much geography around us in the actual city and the region itself, whether it be physical geography in rural Northumberland or whether it actually be around urban and economic and social and political issues in Newcastle itself.
In first year, it starts off human and physical, just to give you sort of an idea of what your interest might be. And then in second and third year, you get lots of choice, so you can choose your actual interests.
Definitely focus more on the human side of geography, studying broadly economic geography in second year, and then moving on to local and regional development in third year. My interests have evolved.
The geographically specific nature of Newcastle is really exemplified by the river itself, and we can see the changes the city's gone through by actually following the trajectory of the river.
Physical geography is really relevant in the world today. The world's changing very rapidly, and it's more important than ever to sort of study and understand these processes and how they can affect the world we live in.
Today we're here at the Coker up in Northumberland. This river is the subject of one of the main research projects within the physical side of the park. So the project is kind of studying the highly dynamic system of the river.
Geography at Newcastle places a lot of emphasis upon this idea of experiential learning, and we do this through placing a large emphasis on field work, whether it be expeditions or overseas field work in stage 2, or all the way through the degree.
I went to the American Southwest in my second year in Death Valley and the Grand Canyon. This was great, as well as being able to visit these places, you're able to visit them with experts.
Another economic geography interest was going to Berlin, and that was an economic geography trip studying the restructuring of the economy and the city since the fall of the Berlin Wall.
So I went for 6 months to Amsterdam. It just gave me a chance to meet people from all over the world. I think I can see in myself the change that that has given. I cannot recommend it enough.
The policy relevant approach definitely does make the subjects more engaging, just because you can see how the direct research that the lecturers are undertaking can influence sort of the wider policy and the way people live their lives.
Newcastle is an amazing city, an amazing place to live, and I've really enjoyed that. I knew it was a good university with a great reputation, and it really appealed to me, the fact that it's so central to the city.
So we want students to come here with an open mind, come as geographers, and then evolve into the geographer you want to be, whether it be human, physical, or a mixture of both.
So that was a nice little video all about geography at Newcastle. We also say this is a definition of geography, that it is the study of the Earth's landscapes, peoples, places and environments. Geography is unique in bringing the social sciences, that's human geography, and the natural sciences, so physical geography, together. It is quite simply about the world in which we live. So how can you study it? So that video you just saw was of the Geography BA degree, but as you can see there are loads others. So you've got Geography as a BA and Geography as a BSc. The difference between these is a BSc stands for a Bachelor of Science and a BA stands for a Bachelor of Arts. So the BSc naturally has more lab work and is a little bit more scientific in nature. You then can do a degree in Geographic Information Science, you can do a degree in Physical Geography, a degree in Geography and Planning, a degree in Mapping and Geospatial Data Science, or a degree in Geospatial Surveying and Mapping. Now you can go onto our website and check out all of these courses to learn about them and see which one is for you if you do want to study geography. They will also be taught in a variety of ways. So when you're at university, you're mainly taught via lectures and seminars. Now lectures are big group sessions in theatre-style rooms. So you might be sat in a room with 100 other people and your lecturer will stand at the front and deliver their content, you make notes and maybe ask questions at the end. You will then have seminars, which will be what you guys are more used to, so classroom-based settings, maximum 30 people, and you get to ask, answer questions, are a little bit more interactive, and you usually bring along homework or coursework you've done, and you go through that as well. You could also have lab work, so work in their lab. You might have individual and group work, and you'll also have field trips within the UK and abroad. And this is an example of the Geography BA. Now, what is on the screen does differ course to course, university to university. However, it's showing you the percentage of time that you spend in your lectures and seminars and the percentage that you'll be assessed on coursework. This is an average, do remember that. But in year 1, you might spend an average of 19% of your time in lectures and seminars. In year 2, 20% of your time. And in year 3, 14% of the time. Now this seems really low, but when you compare it with your coursework, which is 60% in year 1, 72% in year 2, and 100% in year 3, that's when you understand why. Your contact hours are low to give you more time to do that independent work. And that includes working in labs and things like that. Now, even though your contact hours are low, that does not mean that your lecturers aren't there for you. They have office hours and you can email them as well. You will also be assessed in a variety of ways. So you might be assessed via essays and projects, via group work, via presentations or written exams as well. And one of the really fab things about uni is you can kind of cater it a little bit towards you. So for example, with me, I hate exams. I don't do well in them, I get really stressed out and I just don't enjoy it at all. So when I was picking my modules, which are what I chose to study within my degree, I would look at how the module was assessed. And if it was assessed with 100% exam, then that would factor in if I picked it or not, because I just knew I wouldn't enjoy it if I had an exam and that was it to be assessed by. But that's something that's really good about uni, and it makes your course a little bit more unique to you. And talking about those modules you can pick, I'm going to give you an example of some of these modules. I'm going to go year to year, but I do just want you to remember that I haven't put all the modules on this presentation. You can go on through the website and see loads more. I've just given you an example so you can get an idea. So in year 1, this is an example of what you might study. You've got Interconnected World, Introduction to Physical Geography, Geographical Study Skills, Geographic Information Systems, International Politics, and Introduction to Spanish. Now, some of these modules will be optional, so you can choose whether to take them or not, and some of them you will have to do. And often the modules that you have to do are the ones which teach you kind of the basic skills your lecturers think you need to do well in the degree and then progress into a career. But this is an example of some you can do. And as you can see from the bottom 2 options, you can also take modules from other degrees that are relevant to your course, such as a modern language or politics, for example. Moving on to year 2, and you've got modules such as doing geographical research, theory and practice, geography field trip module, aquatic pollution, political geography and social geography. The field trip module is a really cool one. It's where you will do a whole project based on going to another country or another place or in the UK, and then you go and actually perform that project, whether it's abroad or in the UK or in a lake, who knows, it's really, really fun. And you might be looking at some of these modules and thinking, I've got no idea what that means. And that is absolutely fine. You can read a bit more about them on the webpage. And one of the really fantastic things about university is you might be studying something you've never done before, something you've never even heard of or thought of. And that's one of the most fantastic things about going to university, especially when you're studying a subject you really enjoy. We move on to stage 3, your last year. And we've got some examples here. So we've got militarism with space and society. We've got geopolitics, landslides from pole to pole, geographies of film, advanced GIS field course, and geographies of race and nation. Here you can really see the difference in the modules you can pick. You could be doing a geography degree, and the person next to you could also be doing a geography degree, both at Newcastle, but you could basically be doing completely different degrees based on the modules you pick and what you want to focus on. And again, that's one of the fantastic things about uni. You can really make your degree your own, and that's part of the reason why I loved university, and hopefully you will as well. Then this is some pictures of the field work and field courses that people have been on. So as you can see, you get to go to some really exciting and challenging places, and it's a really fantastic opportunity through your degree to explore new worlds, new cultures, new societies, and have a fantastic time doing it, whilst being fully supported by the university. The next thing we're going to look at is facilities. So at university, you are able to have access to a whole host of facilities, more than you would have had access to before in most places. And you can see some of these on the screen. Again, you can go on our website and you can get virtual tours of some of our facilities and our labs, and you can read a bit more about them. But I'll just talk through some of them. So we've got things to use for topographic surveys, such as levels, handheld GPS, robotic and manual total stations, laser range finders, and loads of different things. And one of the fab things about some of these facilities and some of these things you can use is that you can kind of log them out and use them in your own time to do projects. You've also got facilities for soil and sediment sampling, such as corers and augers for inorganic and organic sediment. We also have gravity and piston corers for use in lakes, which is pretty cool. We then have facilities for biological and chemical analysis, such as YSI water column chemistry sondes and ultrameters. We also have facilities for hydrological analysis, such as stage recorders and rugged digital cameras. So absolutely loads for any project you might want to do within geography. And you can use these facilities and get the chance to work in our labs as well. Now, as you can see from the top 2 labs, biology and chemistry, there is some crossover. So you might be working in one of our chemistry labs, with our chemistry students doing something different next to you. And that's one of the ways that we can really make the most and give you the best of the best in terms of labs and facilities and equipment. But as you can see, we've got labs for loads of different things, and we have loads of cool equipment, such as rock crushing equipment or high performance liquid chromatography equipment. We also have total organic carbon analyzers and loads more. Definitely worth looking into. If you know you're interested in a specific type of geography or a specific area of research, then you might want to see if the university want to go to has got the facilities and equipment you need to do that. One other thing that's fab about studying at university is the option to study abroad. Studying abroad means you go abroad to another university and study there for a year. It's most likely going to be an English-speaking university, unless you can speak another language. But it's a really fun and challenging experience to broaden your cultural horizons. It increases your employability, it does improve your language skills, and it's a chance to make an international network of friends. And it's a really good way to study a subject you love from a completely different perspective of a different country. And if this is something that interests you, again, you can find out so much more online. But going to university is so much more than a degree. There are loads of extracurricular activities that you guys can get involved in, such as sports, societies, and loads more. So societies are clubs that are run by students for students. And there are ones for pretty much everything. We've got over 200 at Newcastle. If you have a hobby, you can tend to join a society where you do that hobby and meet people with similar interests. For example, if you want to bake, if you want to cook, if you like films, music, gaming, anything. But there are also societies for courses. So you can join your course society. And this is a great way to meet people on your course and have a great time with them as well. So the Geography Society has over 400 members. They run 2 balls a year, one in winter and one in summer. They also go one trip away, so they go abroad every year. They have guest lecturers come in, and they do socials such as quizzes, nights out, and things like that. You can also get involved in university through sports. So Newcastle has over 60 different sports teams, and you can play these at loads of different levels. If you've never played the sport before and you want to try something new, you absolutely can. If you're really good at that sport, you can also play at elite levels. If you are playing at a high level currently, I'd recommend getting in touch with universities. You can go on our website and find all that contact information, as the universities will try and support you to go to university. You can also play for your subjects in an intramural league. So you could play football for geography against the history's geography team, for example. And if you want to, you can take up positions as the captain, social secretary, or treasurer. And lastly, you can get involved in student media. So we have the Courier, which is a newspaper. We also have a radio station, and we've got our own television shows as well via YouTube. And this is a great way to get involved in loads of more things. So you could write columns about geography, for example, or you could even write columns about something you've got a hobby in. You could submit articles covering news, television, politics, fashion, sport, and so much more. Or you could run your own radio station and talk about anything you want to. You could also help market or do web design for the radio stations, or do that for the newspaper or the television shows as well. You can edit, you can produce, you can do so much. And this is a great way to boost your CV, gain loads of skills, and make you more employable. And talking about employability, this is the last thing I'm going to talk to you guys about today, and that is careers. So Michael Palin, who is the president of the Royal Geographical Society, who, if you remember, accredits our degree here at Newcastle, says that of geography that it's a subject that helps young people into work. Many employers prize the skills that a geography degree can provide, and geography students are amongst those gaining greatest satisfaction from their studies with low unemployment rates. So he is saying that people who study geography really enjoy their degree and they don't really struggle to get a job. And one thing that I do think everyone should know is that of all the jobs you have to have a degree for, 60% of those jobs don't care what degree you have. They just want a degree for those transferable skills. And that's really important. So make sure you do a degree you really enjoy, because it's not going to close doors for you. it's only going to open them. But we have got some examples of some careers that you can go into with geography. So you could go into being a cartographer who creates and draws maps. You could be a geographical information systems officer. So this combines the study of geography with maths and ICT to help analyse data. You could become a geography teacher or a primary teacher. You could become a town planner, so you could plan towns. This involves deciding where new roads are going to go, where new housing estates are going to go, but also what you can do when it comes to unpredictable weather to help prevent that as well. You could go into the tourism industry, or you could go into things like conservation within water and nature. And there are loads more jobs around geography. These are not the only 6, obviously, but it's just a nice example for you guys to have a think about what you could do. And we have got some examples of graduates. So this is Tom Bacon. He did geography at Newcastle, and he is now a geospatial analyst at the Ministry of Defence. And he said that the course at Newcastle introduced him to a wide range of subjects. And by the end of the degree, he had such a better idea of what he was interested in. He opted for more human geography modules, and that gave him the knowledge and the skills to open the door for his current role. And he really credits his career down to his geography degree. Next, we have Emily Cullen. She also did a geography degree, and she's a business consultant at IEM. So she's gone into a role that might not necessarily you think would lead on from geography, but as I said, geography only opens doors. She said the Producing Africa module was of particular interest during her studies at Newcastle University. She loved studying through film and African representation across media, and that is really relevant in what she does. So those different ways of looking at geography through media helps her in her current role. She also said geography at Newcastle is different from other universities because the course is designed so you can study whatever you like or whatever interests you. And our last graduate is Dr. Nicholas Barrand. He did a Bachelor of Science in Geography. He then did a Master's in Geographical Information Systems. He then did a PhD in Glaciology and Remote Sensing. And he is now a High Scientific Officer at the British Antarctic Survey. He said that Newcastle University introduced him to a wide variety of topics in earth science. They also gave him the opportunity to meet some of the scientists working in the fields. So going to Newcastle, he got to network with employers as well. And because of this, at the end of his degree, he had a much better idea of what he was interested in and what he needed to focus in his studies and for his career. And as you can see, he's doing a really fab job now that he loves. So that is everything from me. Hopefully you've learned a little bit more about geography and more about geography at Newcastle. If you do have any questions, then pop onto our UniBuddy website where you can talk to academics from all of our geography degrees. You can also talk to students, or you can even talk to me about this presentation or any other questions you might have about university. But have a good day and thank you for listening. Bye.